Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Mike Armstrong podcast show. And this evening or morning in Australia, we're joined by Kathleen Ann, who is a money and marketing expert and an entrepreneur. And we're going to have a little chat about business and entrepreneurship and marketing and all sorts of things, really. So I'm looking forward to this conversation. I don't get too many guests on from Australia, and I tend to get more from America and Canada. So great to have you on, Kathleen.
Oh, and it's my great delight to be here, Mike. Thank you for inviting me.
Yes, brilliant, brilliant. So as I said in the introduction, you're a money and marketing expert. Tell us a little bit about why you are that.
On that, well, I'd have to go back about 30 years when I worked in corporate, and I got the "Don't Come Monday" invitation. Ever had one of those, Mike?
The "Don't Come Monday." No, I'm not sure what that is.
Don't Come Monday.
Oh, is that a fire? You mean a bullet? Yeah, I've had the bullet a couple
Yeah,
of
that's
times.
the one. That's the one. Yes, the company at the time was downsizing, as many corporates still are today. And I found myself inheriting a lot of other people's jobs. Some of your listeners might be familiar with that pattern as well. And I said to my PA, I think I'm next. And don't be worried, because I'll be very happy. And in fact, I was going to Europe the following week, and I hopped over to London and spent some time, then over to France and Italy, and had a little bit of a holiday. And that's when I had to think about what next. And by the time I got home, about 5 or 6 weeks later, I bought a set of golf clubs, played around for a little while longer, still deciding what to do. And the longer I waited, the more I thought, I can't go and get a job. I'm not really good at taking orders anyway, and I'd rather lead than follow. So I figured I may as well, find my own way. So that's when I first started in business, and that was almost 30 years ago. And I had a couple of iterations since. I don't think anybody who goes into business necessarily just stays on that one track. We have to find our way. And I found my way using my marketing acumen. I worked in financial services, running big direct marketing campaigns, actually. We sold life insurance and that sort of hospital plans, all that type of intangible product. And I'd been headhunted a couple of times, so I was quite the specialist at the time. And I figured that I would consult, and that was sort of like rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic. It didn't really work out. I think anyone who's gone into consulting knows that there's a long time between drinks, getting decisions out of corporates, and then you've still got to turn up and deliver. You've got to do the gig. And I found that wanting to be a solopreneur. So I really learned my lesson then, and that stood me in good stead, because that's what I help consultants do nowadays, become experts and create their processes and programs that suit them. I have a lifestyle business. I still play a lot of golf. I play a couple of times a week, and I make sure that my work-life integration suits me, not the other way around.
Yeah, brilliant. So, did you start off as a marketing consultant then?
Yes, I did exactly, and consulting to corporates. And when I realised that model wasn't suiting me, and I just happened on something on the internet, as you do, you're poodling around and half interested and half just poodling around, and I came across a testimonial from somebody and talking about a program that was being run in the States, actually, and it was a 3-day program on branding, and I wanted to reinvent myself. Basically, a lot of people now are pivoting, as we call it, and I needed to do that way back in the day. And I just thought, wow, this person's talking my talk. When you get that message and you think they understand me, which is great marketing methodology. And I said to my husband, wow, I said, this woman's really got something happening here. I said, it's very exciting. And he said, you should go. And I thought, wow, I should go. And I did. I jumped on a plane and went to the States, and I did that several times. So I was training myself. And then I realized that there were so many people, particularly women business owners. I say heart-centered women and enlightened men. They get what I do, and they're looking for what I have to offer. And that's how I came around to really working with people on their money mindset, self-worth, undercharging. Women in particular are notorious for undercharging, undervaluing, mainly because, you know, we really haven't had money in the sense that guys have had money. You know, maybe go back a generation or two and women didn't even go to work. So there's a lot to come into when you're working for yourself, to be able to hold your hand out and charge what you're worth. So that's my main thing now, is to help people to establish a business and their self-worth, so they really can make great money doing what they love and make a difference.
Yeah. So I guess it's been quite busy for you at the moment then, is there, with a lot of people, like you say, pivoting or losing jobs and maybe going into entrepreneurship using the power of the internet and all of that? Is it a good time for you at the moment?
Yes, and I think that for those of you who you know, well, listening globally, some countries are doing very, you know, through difficult times. Australia has been quite fortunate. We are an island, and we were able to act early. Our government has been very strong about supporting business and, you know, financial packages, etc. So there are people who now have got some funding and now got the desire really to find another way. Having a little bit of downtime, as many have in this COVID period, has given people pause for thought. Do they really want to be working so hard? And that, you know, that's sort of a money mindset, that you have to work hard for your money, Mike. And I think people are realizing that your money ought to work hard for you. And I think that that's the shift that we need to make, is to find a way to work smarter and have more fun. You know, I always say, if it's not fun, I'm not doing it. So I'm always looking for that angle where work should be fun, and making a difference and transformation that we get for other people should be enjoyable. You know, work with the people who will love you and you love them back and you're a good match. That's all we really need. And we don't really need a lot of clients. So when people realize that there's another way, yeah, they reach out, have a chat. I'm always looking for people who are ready to rock and roll. I don't drag people. You've got to really, you probably find that, Mike, you've got to be really ready to make a change, and then look for that person who's done what you want to do and find out how they can help you. That's what I did, and that's what I do with my clients.
Yeah, brilliant, brilliant. And do you do a lot of networking as part of your client acquisition?
Absolutely. That's my prime marketing. I find I like people anyway. And during the last 5 years, I've been the regional leader for a networking group called BX Networking. And for the southern Sydney and the south coast of Sydney, that's my territory. So I do that on top of my business, and I get to go out to lunch. I get to go out for breakfast and lead the meetings that are in person, and we also have online meetings. We were running 7 online meetings during the lockdown period, and now that's eased back to 3 or 4 tonight. So, you know, you'll find me a couple of times a week in an in-person meeting, and many of my clients find me through the fact that they get to know, like, and trust. And I think that if people can find a way to link out and network, we're always that go-to guy. That's like you, isn't it, Mike? You're the go-to guy. You're well connected. We got connected because I was at a meeting, and one of the young ladies there realized, because I work in a way that we don't sell to each other in our network. We look at how we can help each other get good referral partners. You know, the people who've already got your ideal clients, they do something different to you, and that you're complementary, and therefore that your clients are likely to be very good prospects for their clients, and vice versa. So this young lady, Ella, she said, I'd like to, I was asking, anybody know people who run a podcast, because I like to speak on podcasts, and she said, I know a guy, Mike, and I'll connect you with him. And here we are, having a chat.
Yeah, brilliant. And yeah, the reason I asked about the networking is because I guess that, with you being involved in marketing, that you probably would do a lot of networking. And obviously, I won an award in 2018 for being a top networker in Wales, Wales's biggest network. And, since then, I've been networking around the UK. Because I was based in Wales, and I used to do events like expos in like Bristol and London and the southeast, sometimes in the Midlands, but mostly I was networking in Wales. And then I thought, actually, I actually won an award in front of a guy called Grant Cardone, who's a bit of my
Oh
inspiration.
yeah, I know Grant.
A bit of a mentor from afar. The two people I sort of learn most from, if you like. I don't learn a lot from them from a content point of view, but from a how to sell the content point of view, is Grant
Yes,
Cardone and Gary Vee. And
yep,
they're the two people I sort of look up to as the people who own the sales space and the marketing space, and I'm a bit of both, sales
yes,
and marketing. And
yep.
I met Grant Cardone in a meeting in 2017, and I realised I didn't learn a thing off him in a 2-day event, whereas everyone else learned loads off him. And I thought, you know what? I was with a client of mine at the event, and every time Grant said something, he said, "Oh, you told me that in the car on the way up," or "You told me that," or "You told me
You
that."
told me that.
And I was like, Grant Cardone at the time, I think had been doing what he does for 35 years, started at 25. I've been doing it for 32 years, started at 11. So he's a lot older
Yes,
than me, but we had the same amount of experience. And I was
yes,
thinking, if Grant Cardone is doing what he does on a global basis, then I should be too. Yeah.
yep,
And so from that moment onwards, I seen him at an event on the Saturday, Sunday as part of his 10x tour. He come to Intrabiz on a Thursday as part of his tour as well. I'm a sales and marketing director for Intrabiz. At the time, I was just a member. I've been a member for 8 years and an ambassador. And he spoke at the expo with Lord Sugar, and then Grant Cardone and Elena Cardone stayed for the evening doing the night where they have awards. And the client I
yes,
was with on the Saturday, Sunday won 2 awards at the event. One was Best Medium Sized Stand at the Expo, and one was Best Marketing at the Expo. And I actually helped them with their whole launch at the Expo. And I did all their marketing. So I won a marketing award and part of the Expo Stand Award with my clients. And then I won Network of the Year 2018 in front of Grant Cardone and Elena Cardone. And since then, I thought, you know what, I'm gonna network around the UK because I used to be a national sales director. So I used to cover the UK anyway, and that's probably part of the reason why I was just sticking to Wales when I went self-employed, because I'd done 10 years of traveling around the UK and was happy just doing business in Wales. But then I thought, I've done 10 years now. I've won some awards for marketing and for networking. It's about time I go out to the rest of the UK to network as Wales's best networker. So that's what I started doing, and I've been doing that for a couple of years up until March. And then as soon as COVID hit, I thought, here's your chance to go global.
yep. That's it. The same as the networking group I'm in. We were actually going to launch in India. Oddly, it's a bit of an odd thing for an Australian group to launch in India, but we had one of the people here who is from India really keen to do that. And of course, that's not happened because of COVID. However, there are no borders, and we have people now joining because we have online meetings, able to join and connect up and network. And we have a 2-hour meeting with an agenda. It's not just let's have a chat. It's very structured to help each other grow our businesses. That's the premise of it. So, we have each other's back. We get to know each other very well, as you do in networking. It's not just a quick fix. We're building long-term relationships. And I think if I could let the listeners know that the best use of your time is to find the people who you can collaborate with, network with, who understand you well enough to be able to spot opportunities for you. And it's about opening up opportunities you just otherwise never would know about. You'd have no exposure, and they would not be exposed to you. It'd be very small setup. It's now no borders, world's wide open. Even if we can't jump on a plane, we can jump on Zoom and zoom all around the world.
Yes, definitely. And I would add to that as well, rather than going to a networking event and trying to sell to people, just try and offer value in whatever way that you can. And once you offer value to people, you become valuable, and people will remember you, and then they'll recommend lots of other people to you. So that's always my number.
Our culture is, how can I help? And it's a law of reciprocity, round it goes. And the more people you help get what they want, we know this saying, the more you'll get what you want. And that's how it works. I think that people who understand the principles of that approach do really well. Takes a little bit of training sometimes to show people that we don't sell in our group. Of course, we've got to buy services. So who are you going to buy from? And who are you going to ask when you want a recommendation, when you need to purchase in your own business? So that's why when you're widely networked, you've always got somewhere to go, and you've always got people coming to you because you're the person with the great connections, and that puts you right in the middle of the action.
Yes, definitely. And I actually started my podcast at the beginning of lockdown because I could see a mental health problem come in, down. So I'm quite strong mentally anyway, but I did suffer with some flatness, I would say, after the global credit crunch, and I've been building my life back after some financial problems and a divorce. And I could see that this was coming, and this was just going to be global credit crunch Mark II with face masks. And I thought I'd start my podcast and start helping people, talking them through, motivating them through the situation. But because again, I've been in entrepreneurship since I was 11, so 32 years. I decided to also educate people and just get them to get the right mentality, because if you've got the right mentality, you can achieve anything. And even if you lose your job now, or or you go bust, or you lose your house, or whatever happens because of COVID, if you've got the right mentality, you can bounce back. But if you haven't got the right mentality, it can destroy you. So it's about getting that mental aspect of yourself right, really.
I think that's the biggest concern I have, Mike, is about people's mental well-being, because of the restrictions, because of, there's all sorts of, let's face it, there's disbelief that this even exists, and we've got these people demonstrating that they've got no clue, but they're leading countries. We're not going to name people here, but it's one of those things that it's, as an observer, it's unbelievable that we are in the situation that we're in, and the impact, the mental impact, I think is going to be far greater than the physical results out of the situation that we're in. Some people will struggle even more, as you've said, to cope, and that's where leaders need to step up. They need to show a better way. They need to help people understand that your thoughts create your actions, and that's where your results come from, and you need to go right back and change your thinking. And one of the ways people will go, they're so low, they can never imagine that they can come back from there. But I feel that if they could understand that, just that, try to get a slightly better feeling. You don't need to leap to there. If you're in that scenario, just incrementally, a little bit better and a little bit better, reach for a better thought. Find something to be more happy about and move toward that feeling, because those feelings, that's all about your feelings, and that's our emotional guidance counter. That's what's telling us that something's not right, something is not right. And if we stop long enough to understand that that's all it is, it's trying to get us to do something differently, and we really have to start there from the way we think. That will change our feelings, and then we can start making better decisions and taking better actions.
Yeah, definitely. And we need some leaders who are going to start building bridges, not walls. Because we got, as a human race, we got some big challenges on, and the only way we're going to achieve them is by collaborating. So, not only can we collaborate in business, but we need to collaborate in life. We need to get things done.
Yeah, we do. And I think that the world is waking up. It's an interesting period we're going through, and I think it's almost like, you know, what we had to have happen, the way the world was heading in so many different areas. This is a very big wake-up call, and it is our chance to make better decisions and get further along. I think for us people who are in business, I don't know whether you remember, Mike, because you were 11. I'm sure you do remember when you first created your own money. When I left corporate, one of the big mindsets I had is, how can I get paid what I used to earn in my corporate role? You know, I had the corner office, I had the company car and all of the trappings that went with that role. So when I started out on my own, that idea, and it was probably in my subconscious to start with, that how can I charge what I was getting paid, that sort of scenario. How can I earn under my own steam what I earned under working in my corporate role? So when I did first get paid, the first gig that I got, and I got paid myself directly for what I did, I looked at that and thought, I've got a license to make money. That's what I thought. A license to make money, and nobody will ever tell me not to come on Monday unless I give myself a day off. So that's what my mindset went straight to there is, wow, this is fantastic. Now, what do I really want to do in that role? How can I fulfill my potential? How can I make a difference? How can I love what I'm doing? And that's why I needed to move away eventually from what I thought was the safe territory, working with where in corporate, where my reputation, where my network was, where my successes were, and all of the things that you expect as a great foundation for business. And I needed to learn that lesson, otherwise I wouldn't have the model that I have now. But you can understand that from, you know, I'm saying when you were 11, when you made money, how did you feel?
Yeah, well, I felt great, you know. That's why I went into a world of sales and never left back, really. I've been in sales since I was 11, 32 years. I've done various different roles. You know, I've been a sales director, a sales manager, and telesales, and I've done, you know, events and exhibitions and all sorts of things. And I've been self-employed, running a digital marketing agency and being a consultant. But you know, I'm always selling. I'm a salesperson through and through. At the end of the day, I've just learned to also become a manager and a trainer and a teacher and a motivator and all these other things, which are a complement skills to the negotiation skills. But
Yeah,
you know, it all comes
and
down
their growth. You know, you've grown.
yeah.
And this is the thing, I think we need to stretch and grow in our business. If we sit on our laurels and, you know, the world moves by, and we can't afford to do that either. So one of the things that interests me when we talk about sales, because I'm a marketer, however, my whole career has been more around direct response marketing, and that's where you're really selling through marketing. So it's quite different, and people get very confused about marketing and selling. So the sale comes after marketing. And if you're not positioned in the marketplace as that go-to person for what you do, that's where you're behind the eight ball when you're trying to attract the clients you most want to serve. So I work with my clients on branding, and I work from the inside out. Show up and be yourself. And yet a lot of people, especially coming out of corporate, and you're used to being that corporate, you know, suit face and go out there and be their brand. When you get to be your own brand, it's difficult to figure out how you want to represent yourself. So my whole process is around authenticity. Be yourself. That's the easiest job in the world. And you will attract the people who are most likely to be great clients and that are looking just for you. People will say, oh, I've been seeking, you know, I'm so glad I found you, because when you're on target and your messaging, your marketing messaging is reaching the people in the way that lands well, because they're looking for you. And that's why, hiding out, if you're not out there spruiking your stuff and putting yourself out there to be found, then you're doing a disservice. And for your clients, when, you and I love sales because we understand that that's helping people with their problem and helping them move forward. And I think of sales as helping people make a buying decision. They're looking to buy. So who are they going to buy from? If not you, somebody else. And if hand on heart, that you can fix their problem and that you will, really do the best for them, then why wouldn't you get them to say yes to your offer? Otherwise, they go away. They still have to find somebody to solve their problem. And that's the biggest disservice you can do. Unless if you're not the right person, being a big networker, you're able to say, we're not a match for what you're after, but I know somebody and I'd like to introduce you and see how conversation goes with them and whether they might be well positioned to get you what you want.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's where actually it's where I miscorrect myself really, or misdescribe myself, because I'm not in sales. I stopped selling at mid-20s. I'm a solutions provider. I provide answers to problems. And if I'm not the answer to the problem, I'll tell someone every time I'm not the answer to the problem. But I've got a toolbox of people who are the answer to the problem. So I have a toolbox of solutions myself to ensure I'm the answer to the problem. And if I can't use one of my own tools as the answer to the problem, then I've got a suite of other people who've got their own set of tools which they can use to solve the problem. So,
and that's the way to be able to have that referral partnerships that I spoke about earlier. I've been around long enough and quite as far down the track as I am, Mike, but to know that I can do a lot of things. And if people say to me, oh, can you do this? If I said yes to everything that I could do, I'll go down another rabbit hole. So I don't say yes to those things. I say, yeah, I could do that, but that's not what I do. But I know somebody who does that exact thing, and that will be a great introduction for you, and I'm very happy to make it. Otherwise, my expertise that I've honed over these years is limited to how many clients can you serve doing what you want to do. So often, and you might find this too, when I'm talking to somebody and I ask them what problem that they solve, they sometimes struggle because they can't articulate that. They haven't specialized. And there's the other point that generalists they don't get paid well. Specialists get paid the higher money. And I'm all about helping people, one, charge what they're worth, but attracting high paying clients, because the more people invest, and this is the other thing, if I could be really clear about this, I don't see that people are investing in me. They're investing through me to get what they want. And if I can deliver that, then the more they pay me, the more they're going to show up and do the work.
Yeah.
You could give people the answer to their issues. You could do, and people do, they discount, they allow people to push back, they allow people to be dragged along, and all those uncomfortable client relationships because they don't charge enough. You put some skin in the game and you're going to get up and, play full out. And that's what I think is a message that I needed to learn myself way back as well, that higher paying clients make the best clients. And if I can do my magic with them, they're happy as, and they will get in and do what's required, because there are things that people do need to do. You can't just, it's not a magic wand. There are processes and things to go through. And that's the other thing that I help people do, is create their services around a solution to a problem. What's the problem? What are the steps I'm taking my client through to get that outcome? How to structure it, how to put in the marketing language, and how to position themselves as the go-to guy or gal to fix that specific problem.
Yeah. How do people sorry, I was just saying, how do people get in touch with you if they're looking for that sort of service? Where do they connect with you, etc.?
Well, they will find me on LinkedIn, and they will also find me at my website, and that's powerupyourmarketing.com. And put it around on there, and if they're interested, they could reach out. They could reach out by email, and that would be Kathleen at powerupyourmarketing.com. And start a conversation. On my website, they'll find, if they pull down the link under services, that whatever they might be interested in talking about branding or charging what they're worth, they can book in a 30-minute just a conversation with me, just to have a chat to see where they're at and what I do is a match to help them move themselves forward in their business.
Yeah, brilliant. And I know quite a few sort of power networkers, which I'd like to introduce you to. So we'll do that after this call as well. There's an iWow group, which is for 4,500 inspirational women of the world, which is run by friends of mine. So I think you've created that. Also, another friend of mine runs 150 WhatsApp groups, and a couple of them are power networkers, etc. So I think you should go into some of them. And there's a guy in America, Robert, and also someone who she's a regional for a global networking company. So yeah, there's quite a few people I can think of straight away who I'd like to introduce you to. So that would be good. Also, I've actually got I've got some contacts in Sydney who are two power networkers as well. They're Polish. You might have heard of them because they're in Sydney and on the networking circuit as well. And that's Ella Staniak and Piero Mardasic. Do you know them? You come across?
Well, it's Ella who introduced us, Mike. So
it was, yes, it was Ella, yeah.
I mean, isn't that amazing? I mean, here we are talking on this podcast because of a face-to-face meeting at one of my BX networking groups, and Ella joins the group. She's in the Bondi group and introduced me to you.
That's right.
So I very much appreciate that introduction, and I'd like to invite you to one of our online meetings, and the BX meeting, and it should probably work on your time frame too, because we have an option of a 7 a.m., 9 a.m. and a 1 p.m. And I think that the 7 a.m., because you and I, was this call 7 a.m. my time and your evening. So that program would, and you can meet some people who are vested in their business and they're looking exactly what we're saying. How can I help? Who can I introduce you to? And we use Zoom. We have breakout rooms where we get to have 3 one-on-ones during that time. So you have a 10-minute conversation with 3 different business owners. So it's a really great, fast-moving format. So I'll send you a link and you let me know, and I'll try and pop onto the same meeting with you. How about that?
Yeah, that sounds great. I'll definitely pop on to the next one if you send me an invite on LinkedIn. And also I'll send you a couple of invites. I actually work for Intrabiz as well, which is a global online networking company and events company. And we do an event on a Friday morning, 9 till 11 GMT time, which is going to be probably something like 8 o'clock in the evening, your time on a Friday. If ever you want to go networking there, it's people from all around the UK and international visitors as well. And also we're doing a global summit at the end of November, 25th, 6th and 7th. You can check that out at intrabiz.co.uk. We got loads of speakers like Les Brown, Sharon Lecter, Brian Tracy, Dr. John DiMartini, and we've got 35 speakers all in. And it's not a great time for America because it's in our evening time. It's more for USA time.
Yes.
But there's a video available of the 35 speakers after the event. So if you like listening to speakers, which I love doing, then if you do too, then you can get the video. It's $97, so it's nothing like,
Yeah, being in front of all those leading entrepreneurs. Lovely. So do send me the links, Mike, and I'll work my way through some of those. That would be fantastic.
Brilliant, brilliant. Well, it's getting late in the evening now, so I'm going to say thank you very much for coming onto the podcast and for sharing your experience and your knowledge and a little bit about what you do as well. What I tend to do with people after I've done the initial sort of fact find and getting to know you, I invite them back to do a bit more of a deep dive on something. So if you'd like to come back in the next couple of weeks or something, and we do a deep dive on the money side of things, or on the marketing a bit more or whatever, then I'm more than happy to do that.
Yeah, I'd love to. I'd love to, Mike. And it's been very nice having the opportunity just to have a chat. And they call me Miss Have a Chat. I do like to talk. My mum told me I was talking before I was walking. So, and I was walking at 10 months old. So there you go.
It's one of those things us power networks have in common. We all like to have a bit of a chat. I'll introduce you to a few more, and from this side, and yes, I look forward to connecting with more Aussies, and and people from Kiwis, and anywhere else where they come into from Australia. You probably got a few Asians, quite a few Asians in Australia doing in the networking scene.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We're very close to Asia, and been and we're so multicultural. I mean, I don't think any country is not represented, especially in Sydney. Very metropolitan and very I mean, in comparison to other cities, obviously maybe not such a big one, but over 5 million in Sydney's, for the size of Australians. Yeah, it's a big place. I live a little out, about 25k out of the centre of Sydney, and I shared with you earlier, I overlook a beautiful river and national park, and I've got a 180-degree view of the sky and nothing in between, so it's very idyllic. And there's lots of great places around Sydney. If anybody hasn't visited, come on down.